The sun shone brightly over Washington, D.C., casting a warm glow on the city's bustling streets. Inside St. Mary's Children's Hospital, the mood was far from the cheerful energy outside. Nurses and doctors moved with hurried determination, their faces etched with concern and fatigue. For the young patients and their families, each day was a battle against uncertainty and fear. That morning, the hospital staff had been informed of a special visitor. The First Lady of the United States, Melania Trump, was scheduled to tour the pediatric wing. Excitement mingled with curiosity as the news spread. Some staff wondered if the visit would be a brief photo op. Others hoped it might bring much-needed attention to the hospital's work. At precisely 10 a.m., the hospital's front doors opened and Melania stepped inside, dressed in an elegant cream coat paired with soft beige heels. Her demeanor was calm yet approachable, her famous grace immediately putting the reception staff at ease. Accompanied by a small team of aides, she was greeted by the hospital's director, Dr. Elena Carter, who extended a warm handshake. "Welcome to St. Mary's, Mrs. Trump," Dr. Carter said. "We're honored to have you here today." "Thank you, Dr. Carter," Melania replied with a gentle smile. "I've heard about the incredible work you do here, and I'm eager to meet the children and staff." As the group began their tour, Melania took in every detail. The walls of the pediatric wing were painted in vibrant colors, adorned with murals of jungle animals and underwater scenes meant to comfort and distract the young patients. Each room she entered held a unique story: a toddler battling leukemia, a teenager recovering from surgery, an infant born prematurely but fighting valiantly to survive. Melania's interactions with the children were heartfelt and genuine. She knelt beside a 6-year-old named Lily, whose bald head was crowned with a bright pink beanie. Lily clutched a worn teddy bear and looked up shyly as Melania introduced herself. "Hello, Lily," she said softly. "What a beautiful bear you have. Does it have a name?" Lily's eyes lit up. "His name is Mr. Snuggles," she replied. "Mr. Snuggles is very lucky to have such a brave friend," Melania said, placing a comforting hand on the girl's shoulder. Parents watched from the sidelines, some with tears in their eyes as they saw the First Lady taking the time to connect with their children. She asked thoughtful questions, listened intently to their stories, and offered words of encouragement that felt sincere and personal. The hospital staff were equally moved. Nurse Emily, who had worked at St. Mary's for over a decade, later remarked to a colleague, "She's not just here for the cameras. You can see it in the way she talks to the kids. She really cares." As the tour concluded, Dr. Carter led Melania to the hospital's community room, where a small group of children had gathered for an art therapy session. Crayons, markers, and colorful construction paper covered the tables, and the children were busy creating drawings of their favorite animals. Melania paused at one table, where an 8-year-old boy named Alex was sketching a lion. His hand trembled slightly as he colored in the mane. "That's a very strong lion," Melania said, kneeling beside him. "Is he your favorite animal?" Alex nodded. "Lions are brave. I want to be brave like a lion." Her smile softened. "You are already so brave, Alex. And I think your lion shows how strong you are inside." As she stood to leave, Melania addressed the room. "Thank you for sharing your wonderful art with me. Each of you is so talented and courageous. Never forget how special you are." The children beamed, and a round of applause broke out as she exited the room. Yet, the day's most surprising moment was yet to come. After the official tour had ended, Melania asked Dr. Carter if she could speak privately. Once inside the director's office, Melania's tone grew serious. "Dr. Carter, I've seen the incredible dedication of your team and the resilience of the children here. I want to do more than just visit. How can I help?" Dr. Carter was taken aback. She had expected a polite thank you and a departure, not an offer of involvement. Gathering her thoughts, she replied, "Well, Mrs. Trump, one of our biggest challenges is funding for specialized equipment and programs, particularly for families who cannot afford the treatments their children need." Melania nodded thoughtfully. "Then let's make sure they get what they need. I'll arrange for a donation to cover these costs, and I want to work with your team to identify specific areas where additional support is required. Dr. Carter could hardly believe what she was hearing. Mrs. Trump, that would make an incredible difference for so many families. Thank you. The news of Melania's pledge spread quickly throughout the hospital. By the end of the day, the First Lady had committed to funding a new state-of-the-art neonatal care unit and launching a national campaign to raise awareness about the importance of pediatric health care. Her actions left not just the hospital staff, but the entire community in awe. When Melania finally stepped into her motorcade to leave, a group of children and parents had gathered outside the hospital entrance to wave goodbye. She rolled down her window and waved back, her serene smile reflecting the impact of her visit. For the children of St. Mary's and their families, the First Lady's visit had been far more than a political gesture. It was a reminder that even in the face of life's greatest challenges, compassion and action could bring hope and sometimes even leave everyone speechless. Days after Melania Trump's visit to St. Mary's Children's Hospital, the buzz it created had not subsided. For the hospital staff and the families, her actions were not just a passing headline, but a beacon of hope. News outlets picked up on the story of her generous pledge, sparking conversations about pediatric health care across the nation. Yet, behind the scenes, the real magic was unfolding within the hospital itself. Dr. Carter, invigorated by the First Lady's commitment, called an emergency meeting with her department heads. "We have an incredible opportunity," she began, addressing the group seated in the hospital's conference room. "With the funding Mrs. Trump has promised and the national attention we've received, we can finally push forward on some of the projects we've had to put on hold. Let's make this count." One of the most pressing needs was the neonatal care unit. For months, the hospital had struggled with outdated equipment and insufficient space to accommodate the increasing number of premature births. Now, with Melania's donation, plans for a state-of-the-art expansion were set into motion. Architects and engineers were contacted, and within days, the project's blueprint was finalized. But the ripple effect didn't stop there. Inspired by Melania's gesture, local businesses and philanthropists began reaching out to the hospital, offering additional donations and resources. A local toy store owner donated hundreds of plush toys for the children, while a construction company volunteered to renovate the hospital's playroom. In the pediatric wing, the impact of Melania's visit was felt deeply by the young patients and their families. 8-year-old Alex, who had drawn the lion during the art therapy session, seemed to have found a renewed sense of courage. His parents noticed a change in him. He was more optimistic, more willing to face the challenges of his treatment. "I want to be brave like my lion," Alex told his mother one evening as he worked on another drawing. "Mrs. Trump said I was strong, and I want to prove her right." For Lily, the 6-year-old with the pink beanie, the memory of Melania's kind words brought comfort during her difficult chemotherapy sessions. "When I feel scared, I think about what she said," Lily confided to her nurse. "It makes me feel like I can do this." Melania's pledge also inspired the hospital staff to go above and beyond. Nurse Emily, who had been deeply moved by the First Lady's visit, proposed a new initiative to enhance patient care. She called it the Compassion in Action program, aimed at providing emotional and psychological support to families navigating the challenges of pediatric illness. What Mrs. Trump showed us is that sometimes a little kindness can make a world of difference, Emily explained during the program's launch. "We want to ensure that every family here feels supported, not just medically, but emotionally." The program quickly gained traction. Volunteers from the community signed up to spend time with the children, reading stories, organizing art sessions, and simply being a comforting presence. Local therapists offered their services pro bono, conducting workshops for parents to help them cope with the stress of their children's illnesses. Back at the White House, Melania kept a close eye on the developments at St. Mary's. She received regular updates from Dr. Carter and even video called some of the children she had met during her visit. For her, this was more than a philanthropic effort. It was a mission to make a tangible difference in the lives of those who needed it most. During one such call, she spoke with Alex, who proudly showed her a new drawing of his lion. "I made this for you, Mrs. Trump," he said, holding up the picture to the camera. "Thank you for believing in me." Melania's eyes softened as she responded, "Alex, you are an inspiration to me. Keep being brave and never stop believing in yourself." The call ended, but the impact lingered. For Alex, Lily, and countless others, Melania's visit had planted a seed of hope that continued to grow. And for the staff and supporters of St. Mary's, it was a reminder of the profound difference one person's compassion could make. The months following Melania Trump's visit to St. Mary's Children's Hospital saw transformative changes that exceeded everyone's expectations. The expansion of the neonatal care unit was completed ahead of schedule, equipped with cutting-edge technology that allowed the hospital to treat more premature babies than ever before. The new unit was named the Melania Trump Center for Hope in recognition of her unwavering support. At the grand opening ceremony, Melania returned to St. Mary's, greeted with applause and gratitude from the staff, patients, and their families. Standing before the crowd, she delivered a heartfelt speech. "This center represents more than just new equipment or additional space," she said. "It symbolizes the strength, resilience, and love that I witnessed during my first visit here. It is a testament to the incredible work being done by the doctors, nurses, and caregivers who give their all every day." Her words resonated deeply with those in attendance, but the real impact of her efforts was evident in the lives of the children. Alex, now 9 years old and in remission, was one of the first to visit the new neonatal unit. Accompanied by his parents, he delivered a hand-drawn thank you card to Melania, who knelt to accept it with a warm smile. "You're my hero, Mrs. Trump," Alex said, his voice steady and filled with pride. Tears glistened in Melania's eyes as she hugged him. "No, Alex," she replied softly. "You are the hero. You and all the children here inspire me to do more every day." The ripple effect of her visit continued to spread. Inspired by the changes at St. Mary's, other hospitals across the country began adopting similar initiatives to improve pediatric care. The Compassion in Action program became a national model, offering training and resources to medical professionals on how to provide holistic support to families. In addition to her work with St. Mary's, Melania launched a new foundation focused on advancing children's health care. The foundation provided grants to underfunded hospitals, supported research into pediatric diseases, and created scholarships for aspiring pediatric specialists. For Melania, these efforts were deeply personal. In interviews, she often spoke about the lessons she had learned from the children at St. Mary's, their courage, determination, and unwavering hope. "They remind us what truly matters in life," she said during one appearance. "It is our duty to ensure that every child has the opportunity to thrive, no matter their circumstances." Back at St. Mary's, the impact of her legacy was felt every day. The walls of the hospital's playroom were now adorned with photographs from her visit, capturing moments of joy and connection that had left an indelible mark on everyone present. For the staff, the families, and especially the children, Melania's compassion had been a source of light during some of their darkest times. As she stood at the hospital's entrance after the ceremony, surrounded by smiling faces and heartfelt thanks, Melania felt a profound sense of fulfillment. Her visit to St. Mary's had begun as a gesture of goodwill, but it had blossomed into something far greater, a movement to bring hope and healing to those who needed it most. As she waved goodbye, the children's voices rang out in unison. "Thank you, Mrs. Trump." Melania's smile lingered as she stepped into her motorcade, her heart full. The road ahead was still long, but with every step, she was building a legacy of compassion that would endure for generations to come.